What is up, YouTube and my fellow Yu-Gi-Oh players? So I have a debate that I want to bring up, and I want to see if I can get other people's input on this. And it's something that I've been talking about it with my locals, a lot of people I play with a lot, and on my Discord and my locals. And obviously, something I'm working on is I would like, if they keep delaying the ban list here, I'm probably going to make a ban list prediction just like everyone else. I was just getting bored waiting for this, but something that's a little bit quicker that I wanted to get into, that's I think one of the more heated topics on the ban list, because I mean, as far as like Snake Eyes going, all that, we know that something's going to happen there. But the biggest thing I want to just get into talking about, which I see is a very like not heated topic, but just like back and forth. I shouldn't even say back and forth. What's the best way to describe it? Like just good points on each ends, right? All right, so here's the debate: is what is a bigger issue for the format to deal with, is Dimension Shifter or Kashtira Arise-heart? Okay, and when I ask this question, I have some obviously follow-up, and I have my own opinion. And before you guys throw an opinion, I want you to really just listen to what I have to say and think about it. Because the first instinct everyone's going to say is, oh, Arise-heart. It's Arise-heart. Arise-heart's a problem because he's easy to make. And he's a macrocosmos in the field. Okay? That's obviously what everyone's going to say. But just really, really think about it, okay? And listen to what I have to say. All right. So first thing I want everyone to consider is we got the Mokshami cards coming out, right? And which, by the way, I have most of these cards that I could show on a playmat for TCG, but I figured it'd be easier just to show on a Mega. Right? So with the two Mokshami cards, which I don't have the new one yet, but with the two Mokshami cards, you discard them, so they're not like Maxi. You just discard them for effect, so you can get their draws even if you shifter someone. So the argument can be made, oh, now Shifter is going to be even more powerful because Shifter decks can play these cards and get draws. But most of the time, if you think about it, if you Shifter someone and then Mokshami them, they're just going to scoop, or they're just not going to do anything. And then the other three cards in your hand, maybe one's a starter or not enough to get you to where you want to go anyway. So I mean, does minusing 2 really help you in that situation? Maybe sometimes, but the bigger issue I see why Shifter, I think, or I shouldn't say issue, but the bigger reason I'm seeing why I think Shifter is going to get hit is not because it's like can be paired very well with the Mokshami cards, but just because I think it's starting to become like, I don't know if I would say relevant is the right word, but like too many decks can use it now, right? And especially it's just like the fact that you can still, like if someone can Mokshami you and then they can just wait till their next turn till they get the draws even under Shifter, maybe they draw enough hand traps to get through to you, right? So but the other reason I'm looking at too, when you're talking about Dimension Shifter, look at so you look at the decks that can play through it. All right, so you got Exosister, obviously Flandreese and Kashtira, the two big decks, but Vanquish Soul, Labyrinth, Pearly can, Branded even can somewhat, but they don't make that great of a board. Rescue Ace can make somewhat of a decent board, but you got Exosister. And then you got this new deck, Razor, or however you pronounce it, coming out. Other main thing too is Ritual Beast, obviously playing through it. So you got so many decks that it's like, I'm wondering at this point is it going to become meta to play a Shifter deck? And if you're not playing a Shifter deck, then you just have an issue and you're not running a meta deck. Like, is that something that's possible? And maybe we need to get ahead of this and ban Shifter, so that way you're not, just because if you're running a deck that can't run Shifter, now all of a sudden you're not running a meta deck. Like, is that possible that could be a thing, right? But anyways, to the main debate, that's just kind of side topic with the Mokshamis is, so let's look at Shifter, right? If someone Shifters you during their turn, what can you do to stop it? Gamma, that's it. Will Gamma come back to 2 or 3? Maybe, but that's it. You have the one card. Now, if they shift you during your turn, you have possibly these 3 cards. Designator, Called by, Gamma. And that's only one card, right? Shifter is just one card. So that's just luck of the draw, drawing the one card. Um, but then it's just this big floodgate, and you can't do anything about it afterwards, because what happens if, you know, the next card you would have drawn would have been called by, like you had a way to draw cards like Pot of Prosperity or something like that, and then the next card you drew would have been called by or crossed out, right? But you can't get out of it now. That's already, Shifter's already done. So that's what stops it. Now let's look at Kashtira Arise-heart. So what stops Arise-heart from when it's already on the field? Okay, so when it's already in the field, what stops it? Well, Gamma, Talents, Imperv, the books, any type of archetyped fields. Targeting card like Subversion here. Board Breakers, Raigeki, Dark Hole, Lightning Storm if someone's dumb enough to put in attack mode. Any of the kaijus, even possibly Lava Golem and Winged Dragon Raw if they have, or the Sphere mode, if they have enough monsters in the field. Dark Ruler no more. A lot more. So you got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 12 cards compared to 3, possibly 1, right? Now, and also the argument too is, so what does Arise-heart do in the format? It forces people to play these kaijus and more than board breakers, which is that healthier for the format? I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of done with this whole 18 hand trap format, and they would rather see board breakers and higher engine count decks, right? So bringing him back would certainly help with that, is what I would say, and I think it would create a healthy environment. Is what we had when Kashtira was in the format, at least when Arise-heart was just at 1. I don't think, there's no need for him to go higher than that for sure, unless the deck gets hit. But if Shifter gets hit, brings down to 2 or 1 or banned, and then like Pot of Prosperity gets hit, I think he can come back to 1. And I just think he's healthier for the format, right? Because he's more interactable. So the biggest thing with Arise-heart that I hear everyone complain about is his, it's not his on-field banish effect, which I think is obviously his strongest effect. Being able to easily summon itself out by overlaying on top of any Kashtira monster once Shengri activates the effect. I've heard some people complain about it's too easy to cheat him out, but that's not really because you have to, the same amount of monsters you would summon to just make him on his own, you have to summon that same amount to make him by putting him on top of another Kashtira monster. So it's not as easy as everyone might think. It's just, I think you just got a lot of little jaded. It's just a lot of jaded scars from dealing with the time when you weren't playing the Kashtira deck. So the biggest issue everyone complains about is his mandatory effect to attach a material when a card is banished. Oh my god, it's mandatory chain 1, right? So what I want to realize is that mandatory effect that everyone considers his most annoying and strongest effect, that's actually his biggest weakness. That's his kryptonite. So as soon as that activates, that's when it's going to give you the ability to chain cards like Gamma, to then use talents. How many other cards there are that be able to activate now that a monster on the field has activated its effect? Devi Karnate. I didn't list Devi Karnate here, but that's an option too that Snake Eyes can use to get rid of him, right? Where with Shifter you don't have that. The card's not as interactable. It's just a lingering floodgate, where Arise-heart is something you can out. And even if you don't want to go the route of running board breakers, I didn't obviously list all the possible hand traps here, but what stops Arise-heart 2, or what stops Kashtira decks from getting into him? Well, any hand trap ever. If you're playing full power Snake Eyes against full power Kashtira, 9 times out of 10, a Kashtira player is not getting a Arise-heart, because you got Impervs, Effect Veilers, Ashes, Nibs, Nibiru, Kashtira's biggest weakness. And that's just going to, you're going to hit Unicorn, you're going to hit enough that it's not going to stop. It's going to stop them from getting to him anyway. So I would love to see the statistics. I don't know if anyone's smart enough to draw it out there, but the chances of somebody getting into Kashtira Arise-heart against a, maybe what we'll say like 12, 14 plus hand trap deck versus them just drawing Shifter. I would be willing to bet that the odds are greater for someone to draw Shifter than to get into Arise-heart against a deck that's running 12 plus hand traps, right? Oh, and of course, what else outs Arise-heart? Typhon. I mean, so if they're just going to Arise-heart pass, or they're making the typical Kashtira board, Typhon right there is going to out Arise-heart. You just slap Typhon, attack the Fenrir, and then just send Arise-heart back, or you don't even have to, right? So now I agree that, like I said already, Pot should be a hit if he comes back, so that way they can't put Invertrack underneath him to make him not be able to be destroyed by Gamma. But regardless, those are just kind of my thoughts. I want to leave it open for discussion. What you guys think? Would love to see a lot of comments on this, other videos. What's healthier for format, right? You know, Shifter or Arise-heart. I mean, we're probably not going to get what we want either way, but just if you were Konami, what would you make of this decision? You know, who would you bring? Would you ban Shifter or hit Shifter back Arise-heart, or would you just leave things the way they were and the way they are now? Would love to hear it. I highly doubt it's going to be both of them in the same format again. I mean, you could argue that having Shifter in the format with Flu having Shifter plus Harpy's Featherstorm is like when Kashtira had Arise-heart plus Shifter, but it's kind of a little bit different there because he's a monster. So he is definitely easier to get to, but at the same time, like I said, monsters are very easy to interact with. And I mean, that's something that I know Kali Effect, he's a great YouTuber, talked about, is that Arise-heart is just, he's a very fair card that's fair to, well, not fair because he has a lot of 3 strong effects, but he's very easy to interact with compared to Lingering Floodgate. So what do you guys think? Shifter or Arise-heart? It's a really, I think it's a good topic to kind of discuss and everything. But yeah, I appreciate the comments and consideration of this topic. Peace.